Ahoy! I'm the comic book hunter, also known as just Hunter,
Hello there. I'm History of the Flash, but you could call me JD.
and welcome to your story episode 132. Thank you, JD. Uh, we're missing a couple co-hosts this week again. Harper's not with us, Tyler's not with us, but we're still going to keep the episode going here. It's kind of classic, just me and you again.
Yeah, it feels weird now. I feel like when we get on the call, and it's just us two. Like I'm like expecting Harper or expecting Tyler to join the call, but it's nice.
Yeah.
It is nostalgic. I mean, it reminds me where we came from. I still think of those early episodes sometimes.
We did do 100 episodes, just me
You know,
and you,
just
pretty
just just a, just a
much.
cool 100, just the two of us.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be more of a, I guess, maybe lay back episode since Harper's not here to make it chaotic, which depends
Wait,
how
did he
you
send any
feel.
voice messages?
He didn't. I messaged him.
Wow.
I said, "Hey man, you want to send some messages for the podcast?" And he was like, I can't right now." So I was like, "All right, I don't know what he's doing.
Oh.
I don't know why he can't make it on the show. So let's just make up a story. He's in
He was he,
Australia."
he had to go to a kangaroo boxing match to be the referee.
Right, and he couldn't do the messages because it's so loud in there because you just hear people like hitting each other, and he didn't want
Yeah,
that in the audio.
yeah.
So because Harper's doing the kangaroo match, he can't be here this week. But this episode is very much the calm before the storm. Next week will be delayed by one day again, just like last week's episode where we reviewed WandaVision. Was that last week? Yeah.
Yep.
So next week's will be delayed again. It will come out Saturday, and it will be the Snyder Cut review
Oh
finally
boy.
happening. We'll talk about it a bit more in this episode, but we actually got a review this week, so we plan on starting our episodes now with reviews. So if you are listening on Apple Podcast, please give us a 5-star review, or even if you're not, just go to Apple Podcast or leave a comment in the YouTube comments, or just, I guess you can message us too, but it helps with the ranking if you message us mostly on Apple Podcast. We'll put a review there. So JD has a review. You want to review that loud?
Yeah, this one's from Samoan Tor on Apple Podcast, and they said the best podcast. The podcast is great. As someone who doesn't really get to talk comics, this podcast is an immense help to what I talk about. Immense help to what I talk about issues. Keep up the work. So yeah,
Thank you.
thank you for the 5 stars. Thank you for the kind review. Yeah, I love talking comics. Part of the reason why I started History of the Flash, and Hunter might feel the same way, is I didn't have anyone to talk comics with. So it's like, let me talk to the internet, and the internet has talked back. So glad this
Exactly.
podcast can provide that kind of content. And yeah, I love to talk comics. You love to talk comics. Let's talk comics.
That's kind of why this podcast all started. Was we just started talking about comics, and we did a few Instagram live stories talking comics, and one person said you guys should start a podcast, and here we are 2 years later, still going strong. More hosts here. Well, not this episode, but yeah, thanks for listening. Just before we start with the news of the week, oh yeah, for those of you just joining us in Hero Story, we usually go over the news of the week, where we go over all the superhero news that came up from the past week, from comics to live action to gaming, all that sort of stuff. After that, we go over the comics of the week. This week's comics are Superman number 29, Batman Urban Legends number 1, Rorschach number 6, and then for Marvel, I got The Amazing Spider-Man number 61, Daredevil number 28, and Eternals number 3. JD got 2 of those.
But before we get into comics and news,
Oh, right.
2 quick announcements. One, The Price a Hero Pays is now on Comixology. That's the book that we made with our friend Drew Dennis. All 3 issues are available on Comixology, $2.99 each. If you prefer to read digital, or you want to just
The guided view is super cool.
Guided view is super cool. Yes, you could go panel by panel, which I did when I bought the issues. Really cool. So if you want to check it out, go ahead. You can search The Price a Hero Pays on Comixology, or A Hero Story on Comixology. It'll pop up,
Mm-hmm.
or our names actually. So
Exactly.
check that out if you want. Also, A Hero Story book club is something that we talked about on last week's show. That was last week. That feels like so much longer now. I don't know
think
why.
it was announced 2 weeks ago. Last
Okay,
week we
whenever
talked
we
about the
talked
winner.
about it. Okay. The New Frontier was the winner, and yeah, if you want to get it, it's a cool Black Label book.
It's a thick trade, but
It's a very thick trade. There's a lot of extras in the back. the black label has a lot of annotations and like, writer's notes and all that stuff. So
That's
it's
cool.
really cool stuff at the end of the book if you want to check that out. And yeah, read along with us. We'll probably be reviewing it
End of March, early
end of
April.
March, early April, depending on when Canadian Mail gets Hunter's copy and he gets to read it.
But yeah, it's a big DC book. You don't need to read anything beforehand. You can just go right into it. Myself, JD, our other host Harper, Comic Rebirth, and our sort of other host Tyler, Comic Boy, we will be making a YouTube video on our channel, youtube.com/a-hero-story, reviewing this book. And we hope you guys join us and read the book as well. So you can send in some questions, your thoughts on the book in general, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, on to the episode.
Now we get on to the show.
Yeah. So for news of the week, not a lot of news. So like I said, calm before the storm. First bit of news is the Snyder Cut was leaked about a week ago from the time this episode comes out, but the Snyder Cut was actually leaked. The first hour-ish. Technically, it was the first hour 41 minutes, but people only saw about an hour before HBO Max took it down. So the reason this happened was because people found a glitch in HBO Max where if you select Tom and Jerry from the home screen, not from like any sections, it plays the Snyder Cut instead. Tom and Jerry movie is apparently like an hour 41 minutes, so it only played an hour 41 minutes of the Snyder Cut. Obviously, when someone discovered this, they posted it online, and then everyone started watching the Snyder Cut. After about an hour, HBO Max was able to fix it and kick everyone off from watching. So unless people skipped ahead, they're able to see past an hour, but only a couple people saw about the first hour of the film. So a lot of scenes leaked online though because of this.
Can you imagine, like, you're sitting down with your kids and you're like, oh, let's watch some Tom and Jerry, and the Snyder Cut starts playing?
You see Batman swearing and heads getting chopped off by Steppenwolf.
We live in a society.
That as well. But yeah, from what we learned from this, without going over spoilers, it seems like it starts off with a history lesson from the Whedon cut, where Diana tells Bruce
the old Green Lantern stuff.
Yeah, about who Steppenwolf is, and we see the Green Lantern and stuff like that. Except in this case, it's gonna be Darkseid. It's gonna be a lot longer apparently, and we're also gonna see Atlanteans fight Steppenwolf, because a lot of people are mostly posting that scene there. So that's why I feel like it starts off with that scene rather than, what did the Justice League movie start off? The Batman and Gotham.
The Batman on the rooftop with the parademon.
I kind of like that scene. And even though it's
I honestly like that scene too. I know. God forbid we like a Whedon scene, but I like that scene. I thought that was a very good bat scene.
It was a really good bat scene. The only thing that bothered me was when he's like talking to the thug, he straight up says like Alfred, and then I don't know, that bothered me. I don't
should have been Penny One.
Yeah, come on, you say Penny One, Batman. We have that name in the comics for a reason, so you're not saying your butler's name in front of thugs. But yeah, so it was leaked. It sucks for
you watched any of the leaked scenes or no?
I watched the Atlantean fight with Steppenwolf.
Really? Okay. I told you ever since that last trailer, the one before the Society one, I said I'm not watching anything else until it comes out. So I'm going in fairly blind.
You're going in fairly blind, but I feel like the plot's going to be the same.
Yeah, I mean, but as blind as I can be, basically.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for this podcast, we live in a society would have been a total surprise to me.
Oh, really? Well, you probably always saw it online if you're still running History of the Flash.
Yeah.
Everyone posted about that. But yeah, it looks cool. Steppenwolf CGI has improved. It looks like it looks stupid with the spiky design. I don't like the look of it.
Dude, you know who's my favorite Justice League villain in the comics? Steppenwolf, dude.
Oh, the guy in the background.
You know that comic? You know that Earth 2 comic with that one panel that has Steppenwolf
stabbing Wonder Woman?
I love that.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, there's this one panel of Steppenwolf from an Earth 2 comic where he kind of resembles the Snyder.
No, he doesn't.
Not even. He's more like a human face. The only thing that's the same is he has like the little horns. And for some reason, most Snyder/DCU accounts like will post that and be like, dude, comic accuracy. And it's literally just like one panel from Earth 2, and it's like, please tell me the Steppenwolf story that you like. Please,
yeah, just there is none. It's so odd that they picked him as the villain.
I can remember. I don't know if you remember, like 16 main bros, when it was just me, you, Jay, and Issa, when we were arguing over Steppenwolf being the villain of the Justice League movie, and me and you were defending it, and they were like, "That's so stupid. Why Steppenwolf?"
Were we
And
defending it? Oh
we were
God.
defending it, and looking
Oh
back at it,
no.
why were we defending it?
Yeah.
I remember Jay, Comic Prince, for those who remember, was like, "It should be Starro," and I was like, "Starro? Who
I agree.
cares?"
I agree.
But now, look, like in retrospect, yeah, he was right. Starro would have been cooler.
Imagine like a whole city being controlled by Starro and the League has
And
to
and
get
and
through, but
it's
they
cool
can't hurt
because
everyone.
Starro's the original Justice League villain in their first appearance. Starro, kind of like how Avengers 1, the villain is Loki, and if
And
I'm
then the
not
first
mistaken,
Avengers
the villain
movie.
of the Avengers copy, the first issue of Avengers, the villain's Loki, right? Like it
Yeah, he
matches.
is. So they
Cool.
should have Starro because people were just like, "Oh, how are you going to do Starro? He's a big starfish." So
Yeah,
make him intimidating. His whole thing is he puts like parasites on people that control others like zombies.
that
You
could have
could
been
do
cool.
a movie with that where like the League has to fight these people, but they can't hurt them because they're innocent in the end. That would have been cool. I'm okay that they're doing Darkseid. I was one of those people before when this movie was just announced that I really wanted Darkseid to be the villain because of Justice League Origins, one of my favorite Justice League stories in the New 52. So I'm glad we're getting him, but how much are we really going to get? I feel like we've seen every scene with Darkseid, and I'm scared about that because I feel like he's not going to do anything. I think he's going to stand there and he's going to
Dark
sound
side.
cool. But
Dark side tells you that we're living in a society.
I will be shocked if we're going to see Darkseid fight the League in this. I would be so surprised. I will eat 3 bananas during next week's episode if Darkseid fights the League. I don't know. I don't know why that
Okay,
specifically.
you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
If Darkseid fights the League, Hunter will eat 3 bananas. Not even he didn't even say in a row. He just said 3 bananas. So 3 bananas
During
throughout
the
the course of the
episode.
podcast, I guess.
During the episode. I don't know why
He'll
that
be
specifically.
maybe some Timmy's chili on
He
top of that.
needs to fight the League though. Encountering doesn't count.
Well, I mean, you've seen like the new posts where it's like restore the Snyderverse, and now that
Yeah.
like people are getting their first taste of Justice League, they're like, oh, okay, cool. Let's see a sequel.
Yeah.
What are the odds that they continue with any Snyder stuff? Low, right? Like any chance?
I give it maybe like I'll say like right now, barely any. But if the Snyder Cut is actually really good and loved by everyone, 100%.
I still feel like they could do it in like a comic book where it's like
I love that. Yeah.
like how they're doing, they announced like the Superman 78 and the Batman 89 books, like it's going to continue in the universe of Keaton and Reeves. Like that kind of stuff is pretty cool. I've always said like they could have done that with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like there's a fan base that wants that kind of stuff. So you could have done like taken the Snyder storyboards and kind of made it like a comic book. There's enough comic book artists that are Snyder fans that I think someone could have done it.
Yeah, Jason Fabok loves Henry Cavill's Superman, and Henry loves Fabok too.
Jim Lee's a fan. Brett Booth loves the Snyderverse. Like it could have gotten someone in there, but it's
the thing is, people are like, "What's going to be canon, the Whedon cut or the Snyder cut?" I say both. It doesn't really matter. I feel like it's going to end pretty much.
They asked someone on Twitter like who apparently saw the Snyder cut on like the early digital premiere or whatever.
Because that just happened recently.
Yeah, and they said like, do you feel like it could fit into current canon? They said not to Birds of Prey, but to Aquaman it could. So
I mean, like Harley isn't in this movie, so
yeah. Well, and who cares if Birds of Prey is canon? I'm sorry.
Well, that's the thing. Like
Birds of Prey exists in the DCU, but it doesn't feel that connected to the rest of the movies. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it feels like its own thing.
Yeah, like I guess they mentioned Joker, and I guess they mentioned a little bit of Suicide Squad, but even then, they don't really.
It could. That's what I'm thinking about the Snyder cut. Like, we've seen the Whedon cut. People are saying that might be the one that's canon in the end. But what's the storyline? The alien from Apocalypse comes to Earth. Bunch of superheroes team up, fight them, beat them, unite the League. 6 chairs, room for more. I bet Snyder Cut's gonna end.
That line better be in the movie. I swear.
Yeah, I hope so. I feel like that the Snyder Cut's going to end pretty much the same. Like it's going to be longer, it's going to be likely better, but I feel like the ending is going to be still the League unites. You know, the whole thing
Yeah.
when the original cut was coming out, even before Snyder was fired, was unite the League. So
Yeah,
I feel like
Unite the Seven, right? That
yeah,
was people were like the Seven Seas, Aquaman. It's
yeah,
like,
no.
stop.
Aquaman has nothing to do with the Seven Seas. He's part of one sea, Atlantis. Sorry, that was Aquaman fun fact. But yeah, I feel like whether you think the Whedon cuts canon or the Snyder cuts canon, it's not going to matter, because in the end, they say Aquaman. Like even Jason Momoa said that Aquaman starts knowing that Snyder cut is the canon source.
I'm already ready for the shit show that's gonna follow on social media where it's like restore the Snyderverse, because you thought release the Snyder cut was like a a huge tidal wave. Just imagine now that they got it, like, and people are gonna watch it. Oh my god, there's gonna be so many people.
Did you see the whiteboard with Jim Lee that leaked recently?
No.
Whoa, I should have sent you the link before recording this. Oh no, there was a whiteboard leaked. It was a whiteboard that was drawn by Jim Lee with notes by Jeff Johns and Zack Snyder from 2016, I believe, or 2017. It was plans for Justice League 2 and 3. Like the whole plan. Jim Lee drew up like scenes of like Henry Cavill fighting Darkseid and stuff like that. You should
Really?
look it up. It's really cool. The art's really cool. But man,
Look it
some
up.
of the ideas are not that cool. It was basically the whole notes of where Jeff Johns, Jim Lee, and Zack
Well, wasn't this
Snyder.
they were gonna like kill off Batman? They were gonna kill off Wonder Woman.
Well, they're
Like,
gonna kill off a lot of characters, yeah, but there's also like some weird ideas they had in there. It ends they like Justice League 3 ends with Lois Lane going to the Batcave, revealing that her son is the son of Bruce. So her and Bruce had a son.
Oh, I heard about this. I didn't realize that was from the whiteboard.
Yep, and that's the last scene of the movie is showing Gotham City. Batman's dead, but Lois's son and Bruce's son is the new Batman.
Yeah, no. That's terrible.
I know, that's what I said. And a lot of the Snyder people are defending it like, well, in the animated series, Bruce and Lois dated before she met Clark. Okay, so that doesn't mean it's a good thing.
And even in the animated series, that's a lot of people's big problem with Superman in the animated series is that she dates Bruce and gets engaged to Bruce for a little bit. Like, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I mean, it makes sense for the story, but the idea of their kid, that's terrible.
Yeah, it makes sense for the story, but
how could Jeff Johns allow that? Jeff, you're like a Silver Age purist.
I can't imagine like this DCEU, like Amy Adams Lois getting with Bruce, because she's already in love with Clark, and she's like living with Clark, and like even though Clark died, that doesn't mean she's gonna go to the guy who like tried to kill him originally.
Now Bruce is gonna jump in that bathtub from Batman vs Superman.
It's gonna be the exact same scene, but
and knock all the water out.
Yeah.
And that's how Damian Wayne was born.
Yeah, except I don't know if their kid had a name. I don't think it was gonna be Damian.
Either way, it's terrible. That's garbage.
Yeah, I hated it so much. But besides that, the leak in general with the whiteboard was cool. There was a lot of Superman versus Darkseid. Darkseid was very much like, although he was fighting the Justice League, it was very much like Superman and Darkseid one-on-one kind of fights. So it's cool. If you want to check it out, just look up, I don't know, I guess Snyder
Jim Lee
whiteboards, Zack Snyder Jim Lee whiteboard or something. I was on a Reddit a few days ago, but it is Jim Lee's art, so you know it's real. Apparently, Snyder wanted to hide this from Warner Brothers, so they did it in private, so Warner Brothers wouldn't see it. So that's interesting. Maybe because they'd be like, "Hey, no, we don't want Lois to get with Bruce." But in general, I know I'm just talking about the bad here, but there were some cool ideas in that whiteboard in general. I like Man of Steel. I love BVS, so maybe Snyder Cut will be good in the end. Name pronunciation time. Kiersey Clemens, I think I got that right, is returning for the Flash.
Kiersey Clemens.
Oh, there we go. She's playing Iris in the Snyder Cut, so she is going to be in the Flash movie 100% as Iris. So does that mean the Snyder Cut's canon? I don't think it matters still, but all right.
I have zero interest in the Flash movie. It's very disappointing. Like it hurts me inside. I genuinely think it's not going to be good, and that hurts.
I'm sickened but curious. It's weird. For the Flash movie, I'm more just curious about Ben Affleck's role out of all the characters. I'm more curious about Batman's role than the Flash for the Flash movie.
God, I
That
hate
sucks.
Ezra's Flash.
Yeah, me
Even when they
too.
released the video, like the Snyder Cut account or whatever, like the official account, post the video of like Barry doing. I I don't like Ezra's Barry. I feel zero connection to that character. Like not only do I feel zero connection, but like I feel like with Flashpoint, you need an emotional connection to the Flash because you're supposed to understand like why he did what he did, right? At the end of Flashpoint, when Bruce is like, I would have done the same thing if I had the chance. You
Mhm.
want to feel like that, but I'm not connected at all to this Barry. I don't care about this Barry. For all I know, he's traveling back in time to stop Brunch from being created.
Oh no. He's probably okay. That's the one thing that I think they're taking from Flashpoint is he's gonna try to save his mother and ends up creating a bad timeline. That's the only thing I think of. Besides that, is Wonder Woman in this? No, even though they have an actress playing Wonder Woman in this universe. Is Aquaman gonna be in it? Nope.
But
They're
here you
just
go, Michael Keaton Batman.
that's why I understand when CW did it. I'm just like, okay, we're not gonna get Wonder Woman, we're not gonna get Aquaman in this because it's CW. They don't have
The
this
CW one
characters.
was bad too, and it
Yeah.
could have been better.
They're just taking the idea of a destroyed universe, but they're not actually following the story of it. They're taking the concept rather than the story, which I get. That's how most comic book movies are adapted. Infinity War and Endgame are not too much like the
Infinity
actual
Gauntlet.
Infinity Gauntlet
Yeah.
storyline. They took the idea of a snap of the fingers, half the population in the universe goes away. That was the idea of Infinity Gauntlet. So they took that and they just adapted it. Same with Civil War. There's a registration act. Iron Man likes it. Captain America doesn't. They fight. That's the idea. But the comic is completely different from the movie. But for Flashpoint, it seems like you're butchering.
Yeah.
Civil War is good. I don't think the Flash movie will be.
No.
Uh, yeah, that's our Snyder cut talk. I guess next week. Get ready.
Oh
I'm
boy.
I'm I'm excited, but I'm
I mean,
scared.
I'm excited too as the novelty, Man of Steel and BVS fan. Like,
Mhm.
if I view this in the lens of BVS too, but God, first of all, I've just sit through a 4-hour movie. Like, oh God,
I think I'll be entertained. I don't think I'll be bored during it.
4 hours though, Jesus. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of like a 4-hour movie I watched. Gone with the Wind, maybe that might only be like 3.5 hours. 4 hours so long.
I for a second I thought Endgame was 4 hours, but no, that's not even close.
That's like 3 hours,
Yeah,
not
that's
even
3 hours.
2.5, maybe
I think it was three.
three.
I mean, the
Close.
extended editions of the Lord of the Rings are pretty close to 4 hours. So,
Yeah.
but they're
Well,
not. I don't think. So yeah,
this
this
might
is
be that. This might be the longest movie I've ever watched. I'm trying to think. I think right now, Gone with the Wind is the longest movie I've ever seen. So
yeah.
in that territory.
I think I'm gonna watch it during the day, so I might like order some food halfway through, or
Timmy's.
yeah, I'll like eat food before and I'll order food after or something like. This is gonna be maybe
all,
good. We'll
all
see.
day affair.
Yeah, I'm mostly excited for the nightmare stuff out of all the scenes. So that's stroke. Going on to other live action news for the MCU, we got pretty much nothing. But one thing I thought was worth mentioning is we got kind of like a synopsis of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just more details with like behind the scenes footage and stuff. Apparently, it's going to mostly focus on Sam Wilson's development into Captain America, and Bucky Barnes is kind of just being dragged along for the ride of it and is a complete mess during it, but in a good way. Like mentally, Bucky is a mess. So cool. That also comes out like the day after the Snyder Cut, episode 1. So maybe if we have time, we could give our first thoughts on that. Assuming we all watch it. I don't know if you will, JD, because it comes out 3 a.m. your time. Yeah, it depends if you have time or not. That's it for live action news already. On to the comic news of the week. There's a book announced called Planet Size X-Men, and it's gonna set up the next 12 or sorry, it's going to set up a 12 issue event focusing on just one night for 12 issues. It's the next big summer Marvel event for focusing on the X-Men. So X-Men fans, I hope you enjoy. My X-Men knowledge is very weak, so I'll get into it.
But it will grow one day.
It will this year for sure, 100% this year, probably this summer. I just have too many books I'm reading right now, which we'll probably talk about later on the show. But at the moment, my X-Men knowledge is I've read Dark Phoenix, I've read Death of Wolverine, I've read House and Powers of X. That might be it. I just sorry for all the viewers
I've
that
read
just left.
a little bit of Claremont stuff, and House and Powers. Yeah, my X-Men knowledge is very limited too.
Oh, and I read the first like 4 months of Hickman's X-Men, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, same.
But then I was like, I don't know many of these characters, so I'm gonna trade weight, and I am gonna trade weight to the point where I'm gonna
Kind of
read
like omnibus
trades.
weight.
Yeah, I'm gonna read trades from like whenever people recommend me to read them, and then work my way up to House of Powers of X. So yeah, my bad. I'll get into it one day, but you can't expect everyone to know everything unless you're me 5 years in the future where I have read everything.
Wow.
Or
You're gonna be like, you're gonna have like Tyler's Marvel knowledge and like Tyler's version of Marvel knowledge for DC. You'll just be the big brain comic man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost finished my Avengers binge, so I'm getting there. Last bit of news, or no, so not the last bit of news. There's a Wonder Woman book announced. That's another like 80th anniversary celebration of Wonder Woman called Wonder Woman Black and Gold, which will be very similar to Batman Black and White and Superman Red and Blue, where it's a ton of like it's going to be, I believe, 6 or 8 issues. I'm going to say 6. And a different writer's going to be on each book writing a story where the only colors being used are black and gold and gray and like light shades of white and light shades of black and stuff.
It sounds like a lot more colors than just black and gold.
Basically, it's going to be black and white, but the lasso's going to be gold. And like little pieces of our armor is going to be gold. And that's about it. Looks visually pleasing. If I hear good things, I'll probably pick it up and trade.
I won't pick it up.
Okay, fair enough. I heard Wonder Woman's comic this week was really good. I didn't read it, but
I heard that
things.
too. I don't care.
I will trade weight. I have tried getting into Wonder Woman, like modern Wonder Woman, and it sucks because they change writers so often. I think
Rebirth went through a new writer like every month. It felt like.
Yeah, I think Rebirth had like 6 different writers in less than 4 years. So it's like, oh yeah, this is getting good, and then boom, that writer gets fired, and another one's puts on, and then oh, this is getting good, and then bam, done. So I read the first 3 writers of Wonder Woman Rebirth, and then when they announced the 4th, I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna wait. So the reason why I didn't pick up this current series is because I'm waiting for it to not get fired. So if they're on for a while, then I'll pick it up. Last bit of news, I think, is DC announced a one-shot called DC Pride, which will be happening in Pride Month, the month of June. It's going to be a bunch of little stories, kind of like Action Comics 1000 or Detective Comics 1000, Flash 750, of little stories featuring characters of the LGBTQIA plus community. And there's a lot of angry people in the comments for some reason.
I expected.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just going to be a celebration of Pride. During this, they're also going to be, throughout the month of June, Pride variant covers for certain comic book characters. Pretty much every DC comic is getting a Pride variant. There's a few that aren't, but it's just going to be the character with like a Pride flag or like a rainbow light shining on them and stuff like that. Just simple covers. For the angry people commenting on DC and my post too, for some reason, just because a character has a Pride variant, which by the way, pretty much every character does, doesn't mean they're just gay characters.
I scrolled by your post and I saw like 100+ comments in like the first few hours, and I'm like, that's something.
Yeah, a lot of right now I have 142 comments as of the recording, and a lot of it is people being like, they made Nightwing gay. No, it's just him by a pride flag. It's showing support to the community.
Dude, you stood next to a rainbow.
Yeah, I can't believe they was like some comments like, what's Lois Lane gonna think that Superman's holding the rainbow flag? She's gonna think that he's supporting the gay community. Like, who cares? Stop. It's just showing
comments
support.
will be comments.
Yeah. But anyways, this is just gonna be like a anthology series, just a one shot, just to show the DC showing support. I like the logo. They did like the DC logo in like the rainbow colors. It looks really nice. It looks clean. But yeah, the characters that they're focusing on are characters like Batwoman, Alan Scott, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Future State Flash is going to be in it, and they're what's her name from Supergirl. There's a character from the Supergirl show that is making her first comic debut in this. Dreamer. I don't know anything about Dreamer because I don't watch Supergirl, but I
Didn't
guess
even know it was in the Supergirl show.
my bad. I don't know anything about this character, but they're going to be premiering in this book. So yeah, that's the news of the week.
That was quick.
For the first time in a long time. Yeah, it's about 30 minutes into the episode, and now, but I got a lot of comics, and JD got a little comics. I guess we'll start with Marvel because that's what you.
Well, I was gonna say, do you want to do Marvel first and then DC?
Up to you. You want to talk comics now, or you want to wait?
Yeah, let's do comics. Pick of the week, cover of the week.
Oh yeah,
go.
Oh god, I got a lot this week. Okay, cover of the week, Rorschach number 6.
Very nice cover.
Yeah, it's like a map, but it shows like Rorschach's face on it and the car driving through. It's very, very nice. I was hoping we get like a huge moment in it, so then I could CGC it. But nothing really fully happened in it. Pick of the week, Batman Urban Legends number 1.
I had a feeling that was going to be your pick,
which I tried so hard to convince you to get.
You did try very hard.
I messaged him so often. It's like, you gotta get it, man. I know it's expensive.
If they released just the Chip Zdarsky story, I'd be subscribed. I would be 1,000% subscribed. Mm-hmm. I was subscribed for a quick minute, and then it said like $9 an issue, and I was like, what? $9 an issue? And then I found out it's an anthology series surrounding Chip's story, and I'm like, damn. I'm only going to read Chip's story. I'm not going to care about the backup stories.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
It's hard for me to throw $9 at that. Now, I hope when they trade collected, they'll just do like all of Chip's Batman stories in one.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of that. They might do the full thing.
But
there's like a Harley Quinn story, and there's a story on the Outsiders and Grifter. I only read the Outsiders one. So
I'm going to have to go with Daredevil for cover of the week. I was tempted to pick Spider-Man because I do like Spider-Man's cover with the new suit, but
yeah,
I love that Daredevil cover. It feels like a movie poster to me, like a
it totally does.
2000s like animated movie. I don't know, it looks really cool. I love like the background stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I guess I'd choose it as the pick of the week too. Not my favorite Daredevil issue, but I thought it was still pretty good. So,
do you want to review that first?
Yeah, we'll get into Daredevil. Daredevil is in prison currently. He chose to go to prison, and that's kind of been where the story's
for manslaughter. I mean, we learned recently that he's going to be there for 2 years. Apparently, if he serves his full sentence, it's going to be 2 years.
Which I don't think he will.
I think he will, because Elektra's out there.
So. Might have to wait. We might have to wait for a double on that.
Okay.
He goes and talks to a prison therapist who didn't really seem to like him too much because she felt like he chose to go to prison while a lot of people are kind of in there for different reasons, I guess, and that
because they're killers and thieves.
Yeah, and like if he wanted to talk to a therapist, he could have done so on the outside. A lot of people in there couldn't have. He sticks up for a guy who's getting beat up in the prison showers, and he turns himself into the prison guards, but it turns out that the guy that he defended killed himself, and it was a pretty good twist where they're like, oh, the guy that you defended, like he died in this, he was found dead in the cell this morning, and Daredevil's like, oh, no, I knew defending him like would get him, in trouble with the other guys, and like, no, he killed himself. No one else killed him. So.
And earlier this issue, that guy asked if he could talk to Daredevil, and Daredevil was like, "Nah, you're crazy," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he blames himself.
Yeah. Part of Matt's ever living guilt, and definitely not helping his mental status. But at the end of the issue, he gets poisoned.
Yeah, that was
a little odd, right?
I read that twice. I was like, wait.
It felt like a 60s comic where like the random panels, like, someone like with a spoon, like, I've just been poisoned. I don't know. It's just like, It caught me off guard, but
I flipped the page and it was over. I was like, oh,
he ate something, and he's like, I've just been poisoned. So the next issue, Matt will be poisoned. The side story of this, I guess technically there's two. Kingpin is visiting Typhoid Mary in the hospital, where she's talking about how something took over her mind and body, which was the
symbiote.
The symbiote from the 2-issue tie-in. So I didn't really expect them to even talk about the tie-in after the 2 tie-in issues. I kind of thought it would just be like, back to business as normal, like kind of forget about it ever happened. So that was kind of unexpected. And then the C story in this is Elektra. She's like a mentor to a girl, right?
It's the girl from the tie-in whose mom died.
Yeah, again, didn't expect them to really reference the tie-in after, so.
Yeah, Elektra's kind of taking care of her, and she's like saying, like, I know you're sad now, but when you're angry, meet me in the gym.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's cool. Wilson Fisk says to Wesley, let's go kill Daredevil, because he's very mad after talking to Typhoid Mary, so yeah, well
maybe
is Kingpin the reason that he got poisoned, you think?
Yeah, because it was in his food, so
yeah,
maybe, I don't know. So they're not the next issue. I think it's issue 30. Do you see the cover for issue 30? It's Elektra standing on like a gargoyle.
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay, well, it's basically her on the gargoyle. You see like newspapers flying by and stuff. You zoom in on one of the newspapers, it says Daredevil dead. Your mic's
muted. Yeah, I was sorry, I was drinking water, so I don't want to have it muted. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, Daredevil dead.
Interesting.
I think it's gonna be a fake death or something.
Yeah, I mean, Chip Zdarsky.
I think he's gonna appear dead to the public and maybe stay like that for a while, but he'll actually be like underground.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, maybe.
Like that'll be the way to get him out of prison, that he's fake dead.
Kind of a crazy writer.
Fair enough.
Did tweet out a couple months ago that if he's not in Spider-Man 3, then he will kill Daredevil, as a joke, obviously. He says if his college Halloween costume of him being a drunk Spider-Man is in a Spider-Man 3, he'll kill Daredevil.
Now they have confirmed a lot of people for Spider-Man 3. Drunk Chip not confirmed.
Yeah. Dressed as Spider-Man. I guess we'll have to see. I did like how Daredevil does blame himself for the suicide guy. Sorry, I forgot his name. Because he says it's my fault, I put him in here. And therapist says, oh no, you didn't. I read his file. He was caught by Spider-Man.
Neil, nervous Neil.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Neil. He said Neil was caught by Spider-Man, and Daredevil says, yeah, he thinks because he was prosecuted by Matt Murdock. So the therapist doesn't know he's Matt Murdock because he's got the mask on, but he is kind of the reason this guy got to jail. In the end,
I like the one scene where the guy comes into a cell and Matt doesn't have his mask on, and he like goes to throw it on. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't care who you are.
Well, he might say that, but I feel like a lot of guards might recognize the lawyer, especially a famous lawyer like Matt Murdock. So
he's former mayor of the city, right?
Yeah, it's not like he's just some guy. So yeah, I hope his identity doesn't get revealed or anything, because I do like. We've already seen that whole storyline with Bendis and the secret identity. So, good issue. I mean, a lot of people seem to not like this issue, I've noticed, or at least not like it as much.
I guess because like through issue 24, we were on like such like a hype train of like every issue was, a 10 out of 10. Like every issue was so damn good. And then you had the derail with 25 and 26 and 27 with the King of Black tie-ins, and then now you're back to this, and it's like, okay, like it's not. I guess we've set such a high standard for it, where it's like, oh, if it's not a 10 out of 10, it's just okay. I mean, it's a good issue. It's just it's not a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So. Fair enough. I give it like a 8.5.
Yeah, I give it like a solid 8. It was a good issue.
Yeah. You read Spider-Man, so I guess we'll do Spider-Man next.
Do you like the new suit?
No.
I didn't care for it when I saw it in the, when it first got revealed. I don't know. Seeing Patrick Gleason draw it, I'm starting to dig it a little more. I don't think it'll be... I don't think it should be in his main suit.
No.
But it's okay.
And it's already confirmed not to be. It's like his work suit.
Yeah.
So the reason Spider-Man has a new suit, it's white, it's yellow, it's purple, is because he got a new job. Peter Parker got a new job where he has to give a suit to Spider-Man. It's with the media company that J. Jonah Jameson works for now, that we saw like 20 or 30 issues ago. This suit is very high tech and advanced, not in the sense where it's like an Iron Man suit, but it is very much like Tom Holland's like Spider-Man suit, where there's like a voice in his head. Who is J. Jonah Jameson talking? And the whole thing is being live streamed through the lenses, where fans could watch what Spider-Man does.
It's kind of like Screwball type stuff from the
which they mentioned, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much like that, and fans could like comment on like a live chat asking for specific moves for Spider-Man to do and request certain quips for him to say. The only reason Peter's doing this is because he gets paid, and he is broke. He's a little broke right now. He needs a job, but he could choose to turn off the recording and on if anything happens where he needs to keep it a secret. So, yeah, I mean, that's an idea for a Spider-Man story, all right. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm glad they referenced Screwball, because the whole time I was reading this I was thinking this is very much just Screwball.
It doesn't feel like something that should be in the main Spider-Man book. Like it feels like this feels like an idea for like a 6-issue miniseries, or like a one of like the side Spider-Man books. Like for Amazing Spider-Man, this doesn't feel like this, and especially after we just did like the Dark Kindred story, like.
Yeah,
this is an odd direction to go. It's like getting like a little bit of whiplash from like the change of pace,
Yeah, definitely. Although I am glad we're getting a change of pace, because when we got to the first page where you see Kindred again, I kind of was like, all right, come on. Like we've seen Kindred for the past year. Let's just keep going here. I mean, the suit looks decent. I'm looking at it right now.
Gleason makes it look good. I don't love the suit, but Gleason makes it look good.
I do like the really big eyes that can go. It's very much like Tom Holland's suit, going like smaller or bigger. I guess that's just how Gleason draws it. Kingpin wants Boomerang for some reason, and he's like, if you get me Boomerang, then he basically tells a bunch of crime lords like the Owl and Tombstone, if you get me Boomerang, then I will give you a get out of jail free card. So whatever crime you commit, if you get caught by the police, I'll get you out immediately, kind of thing. So he is giving motivation. They're continuing the Gog story. Gog being an alien from the Fantastic Four comics who Boomerang adopted not recently, like a year ago, 2 years ago, I feel like. I guess they're continuing with that. Bullseye is gonna apparently shoot Gog. It was okay.
Yeah, it's an okay issue.
A lot of people seem to really like this issue, but I just kind of was like,
yeah, I give it like a 6.5.
Yeah, I give it like 6.5 seems about fair. I was entertained, but in the end, I was like, well, that, like I said, that's an idea for a Spider-Man story.
Yeah. Did you read any of the little letters in the back?
No, I didn't. It reminded me of the letter that I sent to Sonic Comics.
There was one that I was reading where the guy's been reading Spider-Man for 30 plus years. He said it's been a great 30 plus year run, but I just can't do it anymore. This is really hard, but ASM hasn't been fun or interesting for quite a while, and now pretty much ever since Nick Spencer took over writing duties, and I've done the unthinkable. I've stopped my subscription. I can't believe they actually put that letter in the book.
Did they actually?
Yeah, it's the bottom right of the first page. That long one there from Jason Krankel in Saratoga Springs, New York, which is like 3 hours north of me.
I'm trying to find that on the site, on the right page.
Oh, on the left page, the bottom right one.
Oh,
it starts with "Hello, Spidey offices."
You want to read it, and then I'll read the reply.
Yeah, he says, "Hello, Spidey. Hello, Spidey offices. It's been a great 30 plus year run, but I just can't do it anymore. This is really hard, but ASM hasn't been fun or interesting for quite a while now. Pretty much ever since Nick Spencer took over writing duties, and I've done the unthinkable. Stop my subscription.
What?
Please don't think I'm a negative Simpsons-esque comic book guy. I've enjoyed clone craziness, symbiote silliness, and what cake wackiness for decades. Weak cake wackiness for decades. For perspective, Dan Slott's run was absolutely outstanding, fun, new directions, and always true to Peter Parker's character." Okay, just right there, that's like a take and a half, because usually people hate the way Dan Slott wrote Spider-Man. So that's interesting that this guy loved it. He thought he nailed Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Continuing, which is the most important thing of good Spidey storytelling. Something that hasn't been there lately. These stories haven't been about Peter. They've relied on shock value and extremely verbose villain soliloquies instead of story development. I think that Kindred has had more dialogue than Spider-Man lately, and it's all the same old villain musings. Absolutely nothing interesting. The whole let's really break Peter down and mess with him thing is already overdone, especially when it's poorly executed. I mean, digging up Uncle Ben, that's what we have to resort to? How in the world did that sound like a good idea to anyone? It just seems uninspired and honestly offensive to a lifelong Spidey fan. Please make Spider-Man fun again. Killing off Aunt May, resurrecting Gwen repeatedly, unearthing Ben, that's just uninspired writing and I no longer enjoy it. I'm not saying it has to be all rainbows and sunshine. There's been a lot of great stories over the years that tested our hero, but the best are the ones that let Peter shine. He is the hero after all. You're my number one, Spidey, and always will be. Sincerely, Jason Crank, Saratoga Springs, New York.
Jesus. And then the editor, who was replying, says, "Sorry you feel that way, Jason. It always saddens us when anyone doesn't like what we put out, but especially longtime fans. For what it's worth, I'm loving this run and the book and hope we get you back soon."
This is interesting that every single other letter in here is like so positive.
And then they put like such a
and they put that
one.
one. Yeah, like you would think that, that's the one that doesn't make the cut. But yeah, that's interesting.
Because at the end of all these are like, thank you. Oh man, this is so awesome. Happy New Year. Thanks a lot. And then this one is, you're my number one, Spidey. Always will be.
He sounds like Syndrome from The Incredibles. I was a fan for 30 years.
Jeez, that made me kind of sad. Like, yeah. I feel bad for Nick Spencer.
I can't imagine reading 30 years of Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, we're saying you've been reading since 1990?
Yeah.
1991? Right? You've made it through so much, and this is where you give up?
I understand people saying Nick Spencer's run isn't all that, but I don't think it's bad.
And he loves Dan. Like, a lot of people don't like Slott's Spider-Man. That's interesting.
Huh. What's the comic you think you read the longest? Flash.
Well, I mean, Flash. Yeah, I mean, I've read consistently since the New 52, and like actually read like new comics, New 52, Batman and Flash. I started
for me, it's Batman
in 2011 reading those, even though I read like the runs behind that. I've stopped reading Batman now.
Oh,
after 10, right? I stopped. Batman 106. Right. I didn't pick up. After 10 years as a Bat fan, I cannot read it anymore. James Tinian. I just pronounced your name wrong. Sorry.
You always be my number. Top 5.
Always be my number. Yeah, exactly. Number 6, Batman. No, but I don't know. It's like 30 years into a character. I mean, that's insane. Like, I can't imagine giving up over to this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Spencer's run overall. I think there's some problems, but like overall, I like it. That's odd.
I mean, I guess I've read consistently Batman would be number 1, and I started at the same time as you, 2011. But as far as series go, I've read like 30 years worth of Daredevil comics.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, if we're talking about series, I've read every Flash issue 1987 to present. But I'm saying if you said I've been a collector since, it would be 2011 for me, Flash and Batman, but no longer Batman anymore.
I can't believe they put that in in a published Spider-Man book. They put a guy saying, "I don't like this comic.
I'm not reading this anymore."
Like, well, what do you think? Like, I understand. I mean, like, you got to put criticism, you got to accept criticism, but printing a hate letter saying this comic's bad and publishing it in the comic, like,
and the editor's being like, "Oh, sorry, I don't like it." Hope we get you back.
Yeah, like the editor's reply was three lines, just being like, "Well, we get you back."
I wonder if Jason read this issue and was like, son of a, didn't even care.
They actually printed it. I wonder if we got an email back being like, "Yeah, we printed your thing," because Young Hunter, sent a letter to the Sonic the Hedgehog comic books, and Sonic Universe number something 50 something was during the first Mega Man crossover.
I found it before online. It's great.
Yeah, I published a letter and they printed it, but I didn't get an email back that they printed it or anything. But I was very young and I was very excited for it.
I actually love that in comic books. Printing letters like that, that's awesome in my opinion.
Exactly. I was also the only kid in like, because they do like just like this, like 2 pages of letters. I was the only kid asking like actual questions too. A lot of kids would be like, oh yeah, I really like Sonic, and the editor's like, cool, we do too. Kind of thing. But I was asking like, hey,
you're like, well, in this continuity.
Yeah, I was literally like, what is this canon? Like in issue 57, is that canon? And I asked the question like, hey, Ben Bates, that's artist. Like, is he coming back to draw anytime soon? Because we haven't seen him in like 2 years. I was a child reading. Yeah, it shows that I actually am still reading comic books today. So, okay, I guess I'll stick with Marvel for a little bit since the next comic, Eternals number 3. No idea what's going on, but I went on discussion threads online.
Why do you keep reading this book? Like, I feel like you're punishing yourself reading this.
I am so confused reading this, but I go on discussion threads online, like on Reddit, and people love it. So I guess it's good.
That's a terrible way to read a book. That's a terrible way to spend $4 a month.
The art's really good. I will say that. I'm just a little confused. Just a little bit. And that's only due to not knowing these characters at all. And I admit I should read some other Eternal comics. There's not a lot. There's just a handful. But I should read more Eternals eventually. But at the moment, I'm a little confused. Like, I know Icarus, I know who he is now. I know Sprite, I know who she is now. This issue, I learned to know another character. Oh, what? That's why I was confused. Okay. I just noticed something. So this story jumps back and forward. I didn't see this the first time. It says 100,000 years ago. I didn't see that. So I guess there was a big flashback, and that's why I was confused, because I'm like, who are these other new characters? What is going on? Okay. Okay, now I'm more confused because the character died 100,000 years ago, but then he's alive in the present. I don't get it.
You might have to write a letter to the Eternals guy.
Yeah, I've been an Eternals fan for about 3 months now. I wouldn't say fan. Yeah, love you, Eternals. You always be my top 500. Love you, Icarus. You always be my top 100, maybe. No, not really. I'm not the biggest fan of him. Icarus talks to some people in New York that he thinks he's destined to defend, just like a random family. So he's just like floating outside their house, waiting for something bad to happen. And he's like, I will defend you if you do something bad. The way these people talk makes me think they sound British, but they're in New York, so maybe they're not. They just say things like lot and yeah, they said lot at one point. So I'm like, oh, they're British. The inner dialogue that Chris has, I think, is funny. Well, I guess the narrator in this is funny because there's things like where the woman's like, well, at least come inside for coffee, and the inner dialogue says, he says like, oh, Icarus likes people and coffee, so he does not refuse. Or the couple gets an argument, and the woman says like she's dated enough surfers in college to know never trust a surfer. And then Icarus is just listening in the background, and her dialogue says, Icarus cannot deny the woman's truth. Flight is a thing of beauty. The presentation of doing it on a board like the Silver Surfer is unbearable to him. So it's got a little bit of humor, but in the end, I mean, I'm not gonna drop it. But
I don't get you.
I'm a little confused over it as well.
You're a little confused. You're a lot of confused.
I don't know who these people are. I feel like even though this is number 3, and I started number 1, I feel like this is like number like 61, and I'm just getting into this. I'm like, okay.
I mean, listen, kudos to you for sticking with it. But
I mean, yeah, I should read other Eternals books, and a lot of people have considered the John Romita Jr. comic to me, but it's John Romita Jr., so I don't really want to read that, and I'm not really interested as to the point where I want to buy a full.
Dude, don't you love his Killer Croc and Darkseid?
Yeah, I mean, I do love squares. I give it a out of 10. That's what I get.
Alrighty.
Just out of 10.
On to the DC train. Tell me about Urban Legends. Tell me why it was so good.
It's a Zdarsky story, and he's writing Batman. Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Spoil away.
Oh, okay. So, do you know anything about this?
It's about Red Hood. It's like post Three Jokers.
It feels like a Three Jokers sequel kind of thing,
but good.
Yeah, but really good. So there's a new
Sorry, drug. Jeff, I love you.
There's a new drug in Gotham called Cheer Drops. Very Riverdale-y, in my opinion. But it's basically a drug that makes you very happy, but you can overdose on it very easily. And Red Hood is looking into it. He's trying to find out where it's being developed so he can put a stop to it. Because he talks about how his mother was a drug addict. So he wants to kind of stop that. There's a few flashbacks to him as Robin, just like visiting being in the Batcave when Batman was on patrol, like training, and how Batman needed him to be ready before he actually went out there. And he had more of an interest in guns than batarangs. Even the back of the book has an Alfred quote, because we see a lot of Alfred in these flashbacks. It says, "He idolized you, Master Bruce, and you let him down. We let him down." So it's a lot of trauma in Jason Todd's life. It goes over Batman also looking at teardrops, but he doesn't know that Jason's also looking into it. They're just like kind of going back and forth between Batman's perspective looking for this drug and Jason's perspective looking for this drug. Jason, he ends up tracking down to a man that makes the drug that lives in an apartment building. He goes to the building and the man's not there, but his wife's there, and she is overdosed on the drug. So he goes to the wife and he realizes like she's not waking up. So he calls the police, and then he finds that there's a child in this place. Looks maybe 7 years old. And he doesn't know why his mom's not waking up. He doesn't know the world of drugs or anything. So Jason decides to call Oracle, Barbara. And Barbara's like, "Oh God, like I'll call someone for the kid." And Red Hood's like, "No, call someone for the mom. We need someone to take care of the mom first in case she's alive. I'll take care of the kid." So he takes the kid and he tries to talk to the kid to find out, where's your dad? Where's your dad go at night? Where's your dad go around this time? Who is he? What's his name? Blah, blah, blah. Does he have a phone number? So he's just trying to find this kid's dad. While this is happening, Batman also calls Oracle, and Oracle's like, "Jason's investigating the drug as well." And Batman's like, "I see." Oracle replies, "I know you two aren't exactly friends right now after." And then Batman says, "He's a killer, Barbara. He killed him." So kind of like referencing Three Jokers.
Three Jokers, yeah.
Being like, "I'll do this alone." Because Barbara's like, "You guys should maybe work together."
Is this one Black Label or no?
I don't know. It doesn't say on the book.
So a non-Black Label, because if it was Black Label, it would have the Black Label on it. Yeah, non-Black Label book referencing the Black Label book. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So it's very cool how it's also the three main characters in Three Jokers: Batgirl, or Barbara, Bruce, and Jason. We get a lot of flashbacks more to Jason, but eventually it cuts to Jason. This is near the end. The kid kind of takes him to where his dad works. It's a factory. Jason's like, "Okay, kid, stay here. I'm gonna go find your dad. Okay, I'm gonna find your dad. I'm gonna bring him back here. We're gonna figure this out." He gives the kid his mask, like the Mortal Kombat thing that cuts off from the actual Robin like max. Gives it the kid, so he looks like it's a little big on him, but he wears it. And he says like, "All right, kid, so you're a superhero now. What's your superhero name?" And the kid's like, "Oh, well, what's your name?" He says, "I'm Red Hood." She's like, "Oh, okay, mine's Blue Hood." So the reason why he gives him the mask is because the mask has an earpiece where he could talk to Barbara. So he's like, if you need anything, if anything happens, say, "Hey, Oracle, I need help," and she will talk to you. So then Jason, without a mask, goes over to the factory, goes inside, uses rubber bullets. There's a bunch of people making teardrops. So shooting everyone, finds the dad, runs after the dad who tries running away, kid takes him down with rubber bullets, starts talking to the dad, being like, "Look, you're a bad guy. I get it. You're making these drugs, but your wife just overdosed, or your girl just overdosed. I'm here with Tyler, your son. His mom might be in a coma from the drug. I came here because I didn't want him ending up with the state, but I guess that's gonna happen." The dad starts saying, "Who cares? Like that kid. All the kid did was complain. He was a pain in the ass, and his mother was just so naggy. I hated them both. If they both die, I don't care." So that's what the drug guy's saying. So Jason just listening to this, he listens for a bit, then he takes his gun, puts real bullets in, and shoots the guy 3 times. So he just killed this kid's dad, and that's where the story ends. With him going back to murdering, but a child's father. And it ends with him dropping on his knees saying, "Oh God, the kid. What have you done, Jason?" And the way
sounds like the best Red Hood story in years.
Yeah, and the way it's drawn looks like he did this in Crime Alley too. He killed a kid's parents in Crime Alley. Yikes. But yeah, that's where it ends. It's like, oh my god, where is this gonna go? He has to go back to that kid and be like, I killed your dad. Like,
hardcore.
Bruh, this is so good. You should have read this.
Yeah, but $9. Why would you put this in an anthology book? That's bull.
Yeah, that I agree with. This should have been its own title. But what? This is so good.
I mean, I know why they did it, because people will buy it for Chip and then spend the extra money, but
yeah, I guess so. But this could have been its own thing. It's gonna be this is part 1 of 6. It's called Red Hood and Batman Cheer. That's what the official title is. So maybe we'll get a Red Hood Batman Cheer trade. Yeah, after like 8 years of Scott Lobdell writing Red Hood, it's good to finally have more writers take this character to different routes. Scott, like he wasn't bad for Red Hood. It's just he was the only one in Red Hood, so we didn't see Red Hood go many places. But now we're seeing him go back to like killing again, but not only that, but he's killing someone where he knows for a fact this guy is the father. He just kind of let the rage come out. Oh, this is so interesting. Like I said, there's also a Harley Quinn story. I didn't read it. There's an Outsider story that goes over Black Lightning, and I read it, but I forget what happened. And there's a Grifter story, which I didn't read, though it looked all right. Yeah. I mean, get it for the Batman story. Get it for the Red Hood story. Like, that's all you need. It's so freaking good. And I was going to trade weight. And until you actually told me that it was $8. You told me when we weren't recording. I think we were just talking over Discord. And he said, yeah, it's $8. And then I was going to drop it.
That's the day I unsubscribed.
Yeah, I was going to drop it, but then I went to my shop the next week to drop it. But my shop owner had it early. So I ended up reading this a week early. So the fact that he had it made me be like, all right, get it.
So I guess you'll be staying on the book.
Yeah.
Hunter's financial decisions continue.
Yeah. A book that I might not be staying on is Superman.
Yeah, didn't want. I had no interest in it after the Bendis era. I was just not interested.
I mean, this is the only reason why I'm not. It's very cartoony, which can work.
It's Phil Hester, the artist from Green Arrow, Quiver.
I feel like he would work for Green Arrow. Yeah.
Yeah, his Green Arrow work's very good. I like his Green Arrow work, but
this Superman for like the actual full-on Superman title, I don't know. This story itself was well written. It goes over just Superman saying that he's lost time with John, how that actually kind of hurts him that he lost time with John. It feels weird that he's no longer a kid anymore, because for John it's been 7 years. For Clark and Lois it's been 2 weeks since John aged so much. So like there's a scene where they're flying and Superman picks up a pine cone and throws it, and John's like, what are you doing? And Superman's like, remember when we used to play that game we made up where we throw the pine cone around and fly around catching it? And John's like, oh well, that was a long time ago. Like, I'm kind of old for those kind of games. And Clark just was sad over that, because like, I guess you're right. I guess you are too old. But for Clark, 2 weeks ago, he was 10 years old. So it's a little odd for him. It is good writing. It's just the art doesn't really justify that at all. I don't know. There was a side story at the end of Bibbo, like the guy that works for the Daily Planet. Yeah, I didn't read it.
Now, Hunter, you're not known for dropping books.
Yeah.
The only time you drop a book is when it ends.
Mm-hmm.
So will this one actually hit the chopping block, or is this all talk?
I'm actually going to give it three tries, 3 issues, and then I'll decide. I'm saying it might not continue to be on my list, but I'm going to read.
You've read Superman consistently since 2016.
Yes.
Rebirth, right?
Yes. Unless you count Superman, Lois, and Clark, because I read that too.
So 2015. So you're coming on 6 years now of reading the book. Wow.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's not that long, I guess, but
it's a pretty long time. It's, 3 creative teams.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. I actually read Action Comics too, so you can count them as well if you want. But yeah, Rorschach. Rorschach's very much a story that you have to read in one go. So you're lucky that you're going to be reading. Are you going to read this in trade?
Yeah, when it comes out in trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are lucky because the art is really brilliant. This just
looks
goes
great.
over.
I can't justify spending, $5 for a book I don't understand.
Yeah, the art's
it's
really
great.
neat.
Don't get me wrong, the art looks beautiful, but
it basically goes over the story of how a cowboy girl, who I forget her name, met cartoonist guy from a long time ago by sending letters to each other their whole lives. Well, not their whole lives, but for a long time, and then eventually they met. There's not much story here. It's more good dialogue in general. The whole issue is letters, so there's not really any dialogue in here. It's just Will and Laura, these two characters sending each other letters. They haven't even met yet, but it goes over like, oh yeah, this will probably be my last letter. Hope you're doing well. To more serious ones like, dear Will, I was going to kill myself today, but then I thought I should write to you, so I didn't. I'm 19 years old, just like Mary Shelley. I don't know if I ever told you that. Yours truly, Laura. So it's like a pen pal situation, but it's more like, I'm going to die, but I'm not going to die. So
great voice.
but more serious. That was my I guess my 19-year-old girl voice.
If I'm the 19-year-old girl, that sounds like that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically the whole letter. But it's really cool just showing these two characters' perspectives of writing to each other. It was good, but there's not much to say because as far as plot goes, it was mostly just like character development. But yeah, I do recommend this book in general, but I also recommend you should wait for the trade. We're issue 6 out of 12, I believe, right now. So we're officially halfway there.
It's gonna pass Strange Adventures.
Yeah, it's fast. It's catching up fast to Strange Adventures because it's coming out like every month and no delays so far.
You're gonna make the on your left meme.
That's the comics of the
Don't
week.
say it. Don't say it.
Yep. We're about an hour left.
Okay.
Hour in the show.
What is the character that you don't like? I was curious. We were talking about this for the show. For the show, we're like, oh, without Harper and Tyler, this episode might run a little short, so we need all this stuff to talk about. And Hunter said, why don't we talk about characters that are very popular, everyone loves, that we don't like? And he had one in mind right away, and I don't know that I know this one. So
no,
I
you know this character
know most
exists.
of your comic opinions, but
it was just a question I was thinking about because like there are a lot of people that don't like Superman. There are a lot of people that don't like Batman. There's a lot of people that don't like Green Lantern. What's a character that you think everybody likes except for you? Like you haven't heard a single person be like, oh, I don't like that character. For me, I don't care about Ghost Rider. I don't like any Ghost Rider, Johnny, or whoever the new guy is, who, even though I read a lot of Avengers.
Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, I just don't care about Ghost Rider. But every time I mention Ghost Rider, like online, everyone's like, "Oh, Ghost Rider is so cool! Oh, I love his design. I like the look. I love his comics." I don't care. You can announce a Ghost Rider book by the greatest writers ever and with the greatest artists, and I will probably buy it. But I won't necessarily enjoy it because I don't care for Ghost Rider at all. He's a character that I feel like everyone likes, but I don't care.
I didn't know that Ghost Rider had quite this fan base, but
well, not that he has a big fan base, just that everyone seems to like him.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm kind of indifferent. I don't really care about Ghost Rider. Like I don't really have an opinion on him. That's interesting though.
Fair enough. Yeah, I every time he's brought up in comics, I'm just like, here we go.
For me, that character is Starfire. Everyone loves Starfire. I don't care about Starfire at all. Like really?
I thought you would since you're a huge Nightwing fan.
Yeah, I don't like them together. I genuinely don't like them together. I've read 80s Teen Titans. I've read, all the modern Teen Titans runs. I've read New 52 Red Hood. I've read, I've read most Starfire appearances, I feel like.
A lot of first half of Odyssey, Justice League Odyssey.
Yeah, I just don't care for the character. I feel like a lot of people absolutely love Starfire. I get nothing out of Starfire. I'm going to be honest. I just, nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. Is there another one that because you said you thought of two?
Catwoman, another one.
Oh yeah, you don't like
care
Catwoman.
about. I don't. I
I feel like some people don't like Catwoman.
In my head, I want Batman to be with Talia. I feel like there's something there.
It's weird to me.
I feel like it could be a really cool title, like Damien's parents getting together. Oh man.
If I could think of another character that seems to not have many haters, I'd say John Constantine. I don't really care for him. A lot of people seem to like him. They were just like, oh,
Constantine kind of has like a niche fan base.
Yeah, just like, oh, but his show's so good. He's so good in Legends of Tomorrow, and
dude, Matt Ryan.
I hear
Keanu Reeves, Matt Ryan.
I even hear people reading Hellblazer saying Hellblazer is such a good book. I'm not going to read it because I really don't care for Constantine. I get why people like him. I totally get why he has a fan base. I get the appeal.
This kind of used to be me with Red Hood. Now I guess I care a little bit more, but I used to not care about Red Hood, and like Red Hood had like some pretty hardcore fans. Yeah. So that's why I was always scared. I was scared to share that one online, but that was like more like a few years ago. Now I'm kind of indifferent.
Yeah, I feel like he's gotten better development over the years, but he did have a big fan base. When I was a teenager, I loved Red Hood.
I feel like it's a very like teenage angst type of thing. Like you gotta love Red Hood.
I remember on the wiki pages getting ready to get into Batman, I found out who Red Hood was. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Remember there was a guy I went to high school with who, like I said, no one that I was friends with was into comics. This guy sat at my lunch table junior year of high school maybe, and he loved Red Hood, and he would always try to talk to me about Red Hood because he knew I read comics. But Red Hood's like the one character I didn't care about. So like I'm like, oh, finally someone to talk comics with. And then he's like, so Red Hood, and I'm like, oh god,
you're another Red Hood fan.
I guess I also read Red Hood and the Outlaws. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, he has a big fan base, but again, usually his fan base is more not all of them, but more of a younger audience. I find younger in a sense of teenagers. Yeah, like when Arkham Knight came out, even though we all knew the Arkham Knight was Jason Todd, when he first revealed himself as Jason Todd, I was like, whoa, because I was in high school when that game came out, so I was like, oh, here we go, here comes Jason. But I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I don't fully care about him. He's one of my least favorite Robins, but I still like him when he's well written. This Artsy story was awesome, and it was a Red Hood story. So yeah, those are the two characters that I can think of that don't really have many haters, but a lot of people who, I guess for the audience, if you have a character that seems everybody loves, do you not like them? Batman doesn't count because a lot of people don't like Batman. A lot of people don't like Superman, but Ghost Rider, Starfire, I feel like Catwoman has some haters out there. But
does she? I feel like everyone loves Catwoman. Whatever I say, like, man, I kind of want to see Batman with Talia. I feel like that'd be better than Batman with Catwoman. They're like,
well,
what?
I'm a little confused over that too, because Talia, really, for Bruce?
I think there's a story there. I think that Talia can be developed.
Yes, but I don't know. I prefer Catwoman with him.
Like during the whole wedding story, like build up to the wedding, like I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess since we're here, last time when it was just me and you, and we were just having these random talks, we talked about CGC, and I remember afterwards Harper, who wasn't in that episode, messaged us being like, "Oh yeah, I listened to the whole episode; it was good, but I didn't listen to the CGC thing because I'm not really into it." Harper got super into CGC recently.
Dude, so many people got into CGC. Okay, I've been getting a ton of DMs.
Same.
Dozens and dozens of DMs of people that are like, got the CGC bug. There's so many people that love the CGC stuff now ever since we did that video.
Yeah, you're welcome, CGC.
I can like give me a free subscription now.
Yeah,
I can only imagine how many people are going to be even more into it when we actually like unbox the slabs.
Yeah, which we both don't know when that'll be.
They still haven't technically received my books. I mean, my books are at their post office, but like,
I mean, they're busy. I get it. They have a lot of books they gotta go.
They got Clayton Comic Nation's books, so
which is good. Yeah,
and he sent it around the same time as us. I thought he actually sent it after us, to be honest.
Oh no, it was around the same time. I'm in Canada, so I thought mine would be delayed. So I was like, oh, when JD gets his, I'll get mine like a week after that.
Still haven't gotten mine.
It's been like 3 weeks.
I know. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, I'm just like tapping my finger. Like, I didn't pay for tracking too, so I have no idea where they are.
Basically, once they get my books, I think it's going to be like a month or so from there of when I'll actually get the books back. Maybe like a month and a half. So Like I just want that, I want that countdown to start.
Exactly.
But yeah, Harper got the CGC bug real bad. He got a bunch
really
of
bad
issues. I told him like, bro, you gotta go easy, man.
So yeah, Harper wasn't a CGC to the point, and it was mostly because he lives in Australia, so it's a little difficult.
It's hard to get slabs, yeah. Very. If you're not in the U.S. or Canada, even in Canada, I feel like it could be a little tough.
Not particularly. I guess harder than the U.S., but no, it's still fairly simple to get slabs here. The only hard part is if you want to send in books for here, it's $70 for shipping. So that's like, ugh.
That being said, for CGC to ship it back to me for my 15 book submission was $45, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's still a lot. So I can't even imagine what it's like for Australia.
Yeah.
So Harper's like, nah,
I bought him pre-slabbed.
I think Harper would only get a count if he was sending like 35 books or something. So yeah, he's buying books that are already in Australia. I think maybe about a few in America that are already slabbed, and he is on. I won't say which ones he's gotten. He's collecting Iron Man comics, but maybe he'll come on next week or one episode we'll talk about CGC with him just to see which ones he's gotten.
He got some Iron Man keys, and yeah, he's been balling with them.
But it's not keys. Just like, yeah, I got a CGC book. It's like I gotten more than two, maybe more than three. Like
I think he has like 4 or 5 now. Expensive ones too.
And he always I'm in a group chat with him, JDUR2, and he will post something where it'll just be like a picture of a slab and be like, somebody stop me, please. It's like, hey man, that's like $400. Maybe you should.
Dude, and he got the hot toy. Did you see that?
Yeah, for Iron Man.
He's insane. A hot toy is like, I won't say because I know what he spent, but a hot toy, generally speaking, is like $400. So it's not.
But cheap, they look so good.
Oh, listen, if I was a lottery winner, I'd have so many hot toys all around me. They're so cool.
I was on Hot Toys Roadshow the other day. Like, man, if I were to buy one of these, what would I get? Because I do like collecting figures in general. They look great on a comic shelf too, or just a desk. I have like a Miles Morales right in front of me here, which is well detailed. It's not Hot Toy, but it's Diamond Select Toy, which is pretty good. They're cheaper, but they're still good quality. If you're on YouTube, you can see it.
I've got Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn out of reach.
From Hot Toy?
No, they're just like little figures. I found like some like mall that felt like it was from the 90s. Like all of a sudden I was in there. I was like, yo, is it 1999? It felt like they were still in the Phantom Menace box. I was like, this is insane.
Oh my God.
Should I not even open these? But I hope it don't.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, so Harper caught the CGC bug. A lot of you have caught the CGC bug.
We're sorry, but also
I apologize in advance, but I think you're gonna like the way those slabs look. Well, I think, when I get them back, I'm gonna put up the Young Justice books like right here.
Oh, so they'll be in the podcast?
Yeah, so like you'll be able to see them. So it'll be like the Todd Knock print that I have, the signed print, and then First Tim and First Con like right here.
That'll be cool.
So and then the rest will go like on the rest. Of
just start to roll up.
Yeah, it'll all be behind me. So yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
What have you been reading lately, buddy? Tell me about the trades you've been reading. You've been reading a lot of Avengers.
Yeah, I'm still in the Avengers bit. So I got shot at for this a lot, but I got a DM today talking about this actually. People were just like, hey man, so you started reading Daredevil, then you stopped. Okay. I'm gonna pause, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you want to read like a full series.
Stop your break from Daredevil.
Not even a full series, just a full character, which is what I wanted to do with Daredevil. I'm like, I'm gonna read Stan Lee. I'm going to work my way up to Chip Zdarsky, and I'm going to skip some things that upon research.
Did you read all of the Stan Lee Daredevil?
I did.
Really? How did you make it through it?
A lot of
terrible.
I read it.
Yeah, you skimmed it. I found that reading 60s comics in print is very tough. I've actually gotten better at reading them in digital, like on the guided view. It's a little easier. Mm-hmm. But I feel like reading them in print, I feel like I'm on the same page for like 20 minutes.
It's more so like I was more so just skimming through with the art and whatnot, but I did look at every single page.
So yeah, okay.
It was more so like the classic comic art, it's nostalgic in a way, even though we clearly weren't around at that time. But it's like it's nice to look at. It looks nice. It's classic. So I kind of got the idea of what his run was all about. And then the next one. I did research and I am skipping some runs. So right after the Stanley Omnibus, which is actually a few people after Stanley, I jump right into Frank Miller. So, which is kind of what he's the kind of guy that made Daredevil the character he is today. And after that, I read Daredevil Yellow, and then Kevin Smith, and then Bendis, and then Brubaker. And for Brubaker is where I'm on pause. I read Brubaker, and then I'm like, okay, before I go on to the next one, which is Mark Waid, I'm gonna pause because I wanted. This was in the summertime. WandaVision we got a first look at that, and Tyler was like, "Oh, this is like Avengers Assembled," and I was like, "What's that? What's that?" So I read Disassembled. I was like, "This was really good. I want to continue this before I get back into Daredevil." So then Tyler sent me a whole Bendis list.
He's never finishing Daredevil. And he wants to get an X-Men while he's at it. He's never getting.
I'm not going to get an X-Men until I'm done Avengers and maybe done Daredevil. Okay, to be fair, I'm going to wait. I'm going to keep reading Avengers right now, and then I'll get back into Daredevil when the Charles Soule Omnibus comes out in May. Then I'll get that, and then I'll be done.
Well, and then you got to get the Brubaker Captain America Omnibus, which is going to make you want to get in the cab.
I almost bought that at 3 a.m. last night. I was going to message you and the comic hunting guys.
3 a.m.
Yeah, I woke up at 3 a.m. and for whatever reason, like I like got a glass of water and then I'm like, Captain America, I should get into that. And I went on Amazon at 3 a.m. and I was like, I should buy this because it was $80, usually $120 for Canada.
Dude, why didn't you jump on it?
Well, then I looked at my bank account and I was like, oh, maybe. So I was like, maybe
I've hit that reality before.
Couldn't, yeah. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. $80 is not bad for the omnibus.
It's not bad.
Yeah, so I'm like, how long is this?
I'm not an Omni guy, but I kind of want that one because I've always said like they don't collect Brubaker Cap very well, but now they finally got an omnibus.
It's issue 1 to 25.
I would prefer trades, but you know.
Omnibuses are cool to have. Like I have both Mark Waid Daredevil omnibuses. Anyways, for Avengers, it's a massive list for Avengers. There's a lot of comics. Like I own more Avengers comics than.
Have you been reading every day, every other day?
Like every day. Okay. I'm on Children's Crusade right now. I read at night. I read before I go to bed. And before I go to bed, I read. If it's late, I'll read an issue. But if it's not too late and I'm more awake, and if I'm like, okay, I don't have to wake up that early tomorrow, I could read like 20 issues. That's like I read a full trade from like start to finish, which was like 20 issues in one sitting. I was like, hey, that was good. The thing with Avengers trades is I'm reading like the 2000s Avengers. It's really good. It's only really been okay about twice. Mighty Avengers I thought was very okay. And that's mostly because I just wasn't a fan of the team. It's just like a weird team. It's Iron Man, Miss Marvel, Sentry, Ares, Wonder Man. So I was like, okay, I don't really care for this team. Black Widow. But then and then the Romita stuff was kind of meh at the beginning because I'm not a big fan of the Romita Jr. But there was a cool Infinity Gem arc in there. Right now I'm on Children's Crusade, which is like the finale of the Scarlet Witch trilogy. It's about Wanda's twins, so Wiccan and Speed, Tommy and Billy from WandaVision. Them going to their mother and be like, hey, look, we're real, we exist, we're not fake. So that's what it's about. So
do you keep track of all the trades you read? Like this year I'm trying to keep like a log. Focus. I'm trying to keep like a log, like, all right, this is what I read in January, and this is what I read in February.
No, but I should do that.
I'm gonna start. I had a list for 2019, but my phone reset, so I lost it all. And it was like 60 trades that I read. I read so many trades that year. Like I reread so many books.
I'm gonna do that.
I'm gonna keep like a full log.
That's cool.
I need like a letterbox D, but for comic books. So
yeah,
I can, like, stuff and like be like, I read this, and share it.
That'd be cool. That's a cool idea.
Actually, we should invent that.
$1 million idea right there.
$1 million idea.
Actually, we should do that.
That's a great idea, right?
Why don't we do that?
Letterbox D, but for comic books like trades and stuff, where you could rate each issue, you could rate trades you read. It keeps like a log of when you read it. Like that's.
And we could have ads and get paid.
We can make money.
Yeah. That's a good idea. What are you reading?
I'm on the New Frontier. It's a big book.
Oh yeah.
I finished Daredevil by Frank Miller, Volume 3.
How did you like Volume 3, real quick?
I like it. I think it's good. I think it ends on a interesting note. It's weird that the way they collect it, because they have the what if issue in there. The what if Daredevil became an agent of Shield.
Oh yeah, that was a weird story. I hated his suit.
I don't care about it at all.
Why was it green?
And then they have that other one, Daredevil, the one with like the really like weird painting style.
Oh, what the
Love and War, is that right?
Oh, I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I think it's called Love and War. I could be wrong. Someone's gonna correct me.
That guy,
but
I believe that artist also does a story at the start of Bendis's first volume.
Yeah, it's drawn like in the style of a painting. That was kind of odd as well. It was. I kind of viewed it as more poetry though. Like I thought the way it was written was kind of poetic, which is cool. But yeah, I like volume 3. I think it wraps up.
2 is the best.
2 is definitely the best because it's the whole Electra saga. But 3 has 191, which is I think the best issue of Miller's run.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sending you and Drew a lot of this, like such cool lettering, such cool coloring, so many cool art scenes, and like the way he does like sequential art between panel to panel is, I mean, it's so cool. Like it's
fluid, but it's unique.
I'm not even an artist, but it's inspirational to me because I'm like, that's how I want our comics to look. Like as we've been creating comics, you know, as you and Drew have been sending stuff, I've been kind of noticing more of it. Like I've always noticed art, but you know, I'm noticing more, you know, ticky-tacky, like, you know, tricks of the trade, and seeing stuff like that, like all 3 of Miller's volumes, I was like, that's inspirational. Like that's what I want to do when we make comics.
Yeah.
So I really liked it, and yeah, it's you know, it's such a solid Daredevil run. It's nice to reread it. It's been a long time. I probably haven't read it since like 2014, 2015. So, you know, revisiting it 5-6 years later, it's been a lot of fun. New Frontier is a new read. I feel like I do a lot of rereads. You know, I've always said that I think it's a comfort thing. I think Tyler and I have talked about this before. I forget, maybe me and Tyler, that reading a comic book that you love, like a trade that you love, is like a warm hug. Yeah, and it's like, you know, yeah, and it's like, you know, why do I watch the same movies over and over again? You know, why do you watch the things you like, right? You consume the media that you like, and you do it over and over again. Yeah. So I reread a lot of trades, and it's a bad habit. I should read more new trades because I have such a big list of things to read, of things people have recommended, things people love, and things I'll probably love.
Thor.
I know. I gotta get into so much. Hawkeye by Matt Fraction, I think, is next. But anyway, New Frontier is one of those books that I've always heard so much about. I've seen the animated movie, but I've never read the book. And now, because of book club, I'm finally getting into it. I absolutely adore the Flash scene. It's so good. It's pure Barry Allen, Silver Age, just so good.
Classic, but clean looking art.
Yeah, it's definitely, Darwin Cook is a fantastic artist. I really enjoy his style. It's very, it's kind of cartoony in a way. Like it gives me like Looney Tunes vibes, I guess, if that makes sense. Which is funny because he actually draws Bugs Bunny into one of the panels.
Oh,
I get kind of, you know, like Looney Tunes vibes from it. I don't know if that's like a shared opinion or not, but no, I really dig it. It gives me kind of like the Silver Age feeling, and that's what the writing does too. Like it makes you feel like if the Silver Age stories were written today, and that's always an interesting concept because, you know, Silver Age stories have really good concept, but usually aren't written that well because they're from the 60s. So it's like, what if we wrote those today? You know? So I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm about like, I think halfway through. I'm interested to see how it ends, but yeah, I'm on chapter 7, so I don't even know how many chapters are in.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
They have like little like black spots that say like chapter, so I'm just trying to flip through without spoiling.
Does it say at the end? Wait, sorry, at the back of the book.
Not seeing it. There's a lot of annotations though. Okay, there's 17 chapters and an epilogue, so I'm on chapter 7, so I'm a little less than halfway, I guess.
What?
Yeah, the chapters, like some of them aren't that long though. Like some of them are like a little shorter. Like it's just like it'll be like a little few page story, and then it's the next chapter. So
that's like, geez. Okay.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna have to get cracking on this book. It's a big book.
I had no idea it was that thick.
Big boy.
That's why it was so much money. Okay.
But I'm enjoying it a lot. I can't wait to kind of dig into the annotations. Like, they have a lot of like behind the scenes stuff in the back of the book, which I'm really interested in getting into. There's a lot of like kind of like what we did for our book, where it's like the rough sketch, the inks, the
Oh yeah, that's cool.
The writer's notes, and then the colors and all that. So that's really cool. So I'm really interested to see more of that. And yeah, it looks like they even talk about the animated movie in there. So yeah, can't wait to.
Yeah, it should arrive like according to tracking here next week, hopefully. Unless it gets delayed, which we never know. So,
like I said, I think
crossed.
I think Hawkeye by Fraction is gonna be next for me.
It's
unless I read something just like a short story in between, like how I read Stargirl was just like an in between book for me. So
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, I'm actually doing good with reading new stuff this year. Right, I read Stargirl. Now I'm reading New Frontier. You know, getting a fresh.
And now you're reading Fraction Hawkeye. I know you have Thor on your list somewhere.
I know it is, and especially it will be chosen for book club in the next 3 months or so. So I'll get into it.
And I know you have New Avengers by Bendis on there somewhere.
Yeah, New Avengers is awesome. That I read some of the issues, so it's a matter of just completing it now, and yeah, that'll be good. So I'm running out of room on my shelf, though. I am so close. I can fit maybe 10 more trades on my shelf, and then I'm out of room. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, because this was the bigger shelf that I bought.
No, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess Panic. How many you have? Like what 150 trade?
I'm at like 180, I believe. I'd have to give a hard count, but I think it's like 180.
Thought I caught up. I'm exactly 150.
I'll count it right after we finish
recording. Which is a little crazy because before COVID,
you were never a trade guy. You were never. I remember I would tell you like, dude, you got to get into trades, and you were like, I like single issues.
Yeah, that was it. I had maybe like 30 before quarantine a year ago. I know I have 150. Yeah, so my money went towards trades for this past year.
And I feel like I've gotten more into like keys and stuff in the past year. I mean, you've gotten into keys too, but
yeah, I hate money clearly. So
we're not big fans of money, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I got Urban Legends, so yay.
But we'll see how many trades I end up reading for the year of 2021. I'm only at, we're on March 11th. I've got 5 complete, and I'm on my 6th right now. So
you'll probably read Hawkeye this month then.
Yeah, I'm gonna get through
Hawkeye in general is like 25 issues.
But yeah, you guys should, if you guys think this is cool, I feel like everyone should keep a log like this. I honestly think we should start this app. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I don't know how to make it
as we say over recorded audio that over 1,000 people will likely listen to.
Yeah, that they could steal our idea like that with no copyright.
Yeah, we gotta get on this fast.
Listen, I think it's a good idea. I think it's an untapped market.
Yeah, that'd be cool because I'd use that a lot. I'm like after recording, I'm gonna go look at my trades and be like, okay, I read these in January. It's just gonna be Avengers books.
Yeah, but it is cool to see, and you could like keep track of like, wow, in this month I read a lot more, and this month I read a lot less. Like that's how I use Letterboxd. I'm like, wow, I watched a lot of movies that month, or I didn't watch that many movies that month. So
yeah,
so I think it'd be cool for trades.
Yeah.
So
and that's where
that's the show. Yeah, we've been rambling a little bit here, but hey, maybe you enjoyed it. If you're listening on iTunes, we appreciate a 5-star review. We'll read it at the beginning of the show. So feel free to drop some kind words by. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe. Hunter does so much work to get it on YouTube, and we would appreciate your subscription. Not only do we post the podcast on YouTube, but we also post other stuff. Yeah, including CGC unboxings coming soon. Timmy's Talk, a sideshow. Star Wars Talk, a sideshow. Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah, you got it right.
It's coming soon.
Coming really, really soon, hopefully.
Really soon. So very soon. Yeah. So yeah. Subscribe. Follow anywhere else, and that's it for the show. So for Hero Story, I'm JD.
And I'm Hunter, and thanks for being a hero.
And remember, every second is a gift. Goodbye.
What?